wrapping us up here. We'll call the meeting to order at 5 o'clock. Everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I'll wait for Brittany. Sorry, no, you're fine. One more recording.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, roll call. Right. Dave.
Here.
Carrie. Here. Tony. Here. Michelle. Here. Tracy.
Here and in person.
Yes. Phyllis. Here. Nancy. Here. All right. And the older person, Schrader and Barb are excused. We have a quorum. A statement of public notice. This meeting was noticed in accordance with the open meeting law. Any public comment? I don't see any online, right? No, okay. No members of the public here. Consent agenda. I get asked for a motion, right? To approve the consent agenda, which is the approval of minutes from last month's meeting, March 19th, 2024, and the March 2024 financials.
I so move.
I second. Thanks. Discussion. I have something. I'd want to turn your attention to packet page 9, which is our expense sheet. And Dave, are you comfortable with it online? Do you want a physical? Okay.
Good.
All right. We are going to be looking at line item towards the top third. It's maintenance of building grounds. So I'm just going to point at it so you can sort of see where to find it. So, as you can see, we have spent about 22% of that budget line for the year, which does not sound awful. However, we have had a couple of big expenses happen lately in this line item, and specifically related to HVAC and the fire suppression system. If you take what we've already spent, keep in mind it's about mid-April, and then I'm always looking ahead, of course, we have standard maintenance things that we do throughout the year to flush systems, check to make sure everything's squared away, that kind of stuff. If you add what we've already spent plus what we know is coming, and that's the lawn care, everything, to maintain this 40,000 square foot building, we have $1,200 left in that account for the rest of the year for maintenance of the building. That is Nancy's face. Describe, if I could make you into a meme, Nancy, I would, because that is sort of the mood. So, normally the way this account works is that we have mini breaks on things throughout the year. This year it happened to do all of it between January and April. Now, I'm not so naive to assume that this is the end, right? Maybe we get lucky and this is it for the rest of the year, but I doubt that. Obviously, all of these things needed to be done. They were broken. Just to give you an example, we have spent $16,000 in unexpected repairs to our HVAC system this year. Last year, we spent $9,000 on unexpected repairs across the entire year. So you can see we're sort of playing from behind. These parts are expensive. The labor is expensive. We just had a couple of really big hits. So a couple of things that I'm doing. Obviously, I'm aware of what's going on, so I'm going to be monitoring this account very closely. I did cancel our plant contract, which admittedly is not a lot, but it's something. I also didn't think it was the best use of those funds anyway. I am going to be sort of freezing some money in another account. I sort of do that when I start to see that we're about to go over in somewhere to sort of balance out in another line item. So I'm going to be monitoring that in that way. And I will keep you guys updated. We have gone over budget in this line item before. It's all about the bottom line at the end of the year. It's just, this is probably the first time in my 6.5 years here that we have gotten so close to this budget line so early. So that is what I know.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Within your budget, because you don't have a specific line for, any contingency for any unexplained or, unplanned items, does the library carry a fund balance account from previously unexpended funds that in the event that, let's say, one of the boilers blows up, you have the ability to utilize that funds, or is this one of those times where you might not buy as many books as you thought you were going to buy?
A little bit of both.
Okay.
So usually what we have done in years past is vote to return the money, any excess operating money, back to the city. Mm-hmm. We do have, if you look at packet page 11 and 12, some money, which we were going to talk about as a board this year if we had any plans for it, if we wanted to use it as like an emergency fund. It's feeling like that's not an awful idea to keep it there, so you can see the 43,000 and then the 29,000. So we have a little bit of that. In years past, we have, in order to try to, balance out the end of the year, like I said, I will look at accounts that we seem to have some excess in, and I'll sort of balance it in that way. We have not, in the 6.5 years I've been here, had to make, I would say, hard choices, right, where all of a sudden we were not buying books or not offering the summer reading program or things like that. Usually if we go over a little bit in one, we're able to balance it out. Yeah. So I don't want to say I'm panicking by any stretch. I just want to bring attention to the fact that it's pretty early in the year for an account that has the potential for one phone call equaling a $5,000 repair to be this close. So I'm just keeping an eye on it, and I just wanted to give you guys the heads up. And if it feels like we're getting, if that line item is making me more nervous than it is right now, I'll be talking with you guys about that and what that means. And obviously I'm going to give the city a heads up as well. So.
And as I recall, you mentioned that the HVAC that's here is the same 25-year-old HVAC that was constructed.
Correct.
So,
yep.
So there's a certain expectation that things are going to go.
Yeah, it's a great way to describe what happened. I believe the last issue that we had, the one that cost $6,000, maintenance described it as there was a flash of light and a loud noise. Usually you don't want your systems.
Those are bad things.
Those are bad things.
Yeah.
So when we start to talk about the budget in June, you will have seen last year that I already put in the 5-year plan the condensing units, which will become end of life. I'm going to, after this year, hopefully this is an anomaly. Like I said, last year we only spent about $9,000. But I want to be aware that at some point a car becomes a clunker and you're putting in more and more money every year. So if this is not an anomaly, I'm going to start conversations and plans with maintenance and the HVAC on, like, what does it cost? What does that look like to get a new system? Where are we at with that? And when do we have to start putting that in the capital plan? So
this was all in the boiler system?
The most recent one was the air handling unit.
Okay.
Well, and do you think, and I know Rick listens to these meetings every once in a while, but would it be good to give him a heads up prior to things getting any worse?
Definitely. I'm going to let the city know. I'm going to talk with the mayor and finance and just let them know that here's where we are. And yeah, okay. Absolutely.
What's the ultimate plan? I mean, can we replace the whole HVAC system?
Well, that's what I want to talk about. So maintenance had told me the condensing units were at end of life and was sort of predicting that at some point they're not going to be able to be repaired. I had started conversations with the fire protection system about how does one replace an entire fire suppression system, and they said you put it off as long as you can because it's really hard to replace that part. I'm not so sure about the HVAC system, so this has inspired me to start that conversation.
Putting it off as long as you can bothers me because prices go up every day.
Yeah.
The longer you wait, the more.
Yeah, and so far, if I had to tell you which system was making me more nervous, it'd be the HVAC one. We get leaks in the fire suppression system from time to time, and we actually had to trace a pretty difficult one. We were having trouble finding it, and by we, of course, I mean not me. I was not walking the pipes in the ceiling. But I think we figured it out now, and we're back on track. But that was another thing that hit us. It was, that was a $5,500 thing. So it was, the HVAC gave us about 2 hits, and then the leak in the fire suppression system gave us another hit. So they're both areas of concern, but if I had to say which one was giving us more unexpected expenses at this point, it would be the HVAC system. So I will give you more updates, but I'm going to have those conversations and start sending out the warnings and monitoring, but just wanted to let you know.
Yeah, sooner than later,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
I had a question. It's not about the money because it's only $57, but on page 7 for the Johnson Creek Public Library, did we buy them a switchgear?
We did.
Why did we buy them a switchgear?
Not out of benevolence so much as I'm trying to think. This one, because there was one from Watertown and there was one from Johnson Creek.
Oh yeah, Watertown too.
The Switch game.
Disappeared off of our shelves. Our
Like a
shelf.
Nintendo game.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think they were stolen.
Oh.
We have a new process now. The Switch games are kept in a different area. We never had that problem, but all it takes is one. So we changed our process and we paid them for their.
So off the whole shelf. So they wouldn't have triggered the RFID.
No, because they didn't have tape, I guess. That's the only thing I can think of.
Interesting.
My question was the accessibility item for almost $7,000 for an adult changing table.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds kind of risque to mean an adult changing table.
It's for the special needs kids.
Yeah.
It's for the special needs kids to change their
Yeah.
diapers and stuff.
And that came out of our capital budget, but I have great news now that I've made everyone feel super sad about other budget stuff. I wrote a grant and I got $5,000 to offset that table. So that's a big chunk of that we won't have to spend. So that's exciting. So that was good.
Who did you get the grant from?
Actually, through the Bridges Library System.
Oh,
It was a
okay.
competitive grant, so we won.
Yes, good.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So I was actually going to contact, I'm going to try to, because it doesn't quite cover the full thing. There's one other, there's a pro healthcare grant out there that I think we'd be eligible for too. So I'm going to try to write that grant to cover the remaining one. So awesome.
Any other questions or comments?
Oh, I had one. On the room rental, I saw that we are getting more rent than we were expecting for the year. It's on page 10.
Room rental. Yeah, you never know with that one. And we had some low years, so I always just sort of leave it at 1,000, and that's usually been pretty reasonable. I can't think off the top of my head if there's any particular I probably shouldn't say it out loud anyway if there's a particular group that's driving that for privacy reasons. But yeah, not other good news. See, not all good.
That $125 will cover the 2 Switch games that we owed the Blazer Library.
Right,
So I guess we're coming out even, right?
It's only April. That's only going to go up,
Yeah.
right?
Might pay for a part of an HVAC to repair.
One switch that doesn't flash light.
Yeah.
All right, we ready to vote? All those in favor of approving the consent agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
All those against? All those abstaining? All right, motion passes. President's report. So I don't have a report so much as I wanted to welcome our newest member and give you a chance to introduce yourself and your name, and then I thought we could go around and just say our names and maybe how long we've served on the board and if we're in any committees or anything or positions. So did you want to start or we can?
Sure, I'm happy to start. Dave DeAngelis.
Welcome.
Thanks for allowing me on the board. As I told Mayor Rick when he asked me that, as a lifelong library geek, I'm very happy to be here and hopefully be able to contribute to the board. I've got a long history in Muskego, obviously. I was mayor for a few years here and there. I did tell Brittany that I'm more than happy to show her where the bodies are buried in this building, seeing as how I had the privilege of managing the entire construction project for this because our building inspector left as we broke ground for this job. And so I spent a lot of time here during construction. So I'm more than happy and actually a little excited about making things a little better for that. So. But I spent the last 21 years in Elm Grove. I've been on the Federated Library System Act 150 committee 5 or 6 times. I participated and helped draft the funding formula for the library system that currently is in use. So hopefully we'll be able to use some of that insider knowledge for good for the city of Muskego. So like I said, I'm just really happy to be here.
Welcome. I'm Carrie Foundos, and I've been on the board for 2 years now, and you probably see me at the library a lot too. I have 2 kids, and we come to a lot of programs. So, as Barb told me last time I was at the library, she said, "Do you live here? Every time I come, you're here."
It's not a bad.
I'm Tony Hagnowski. I am the representative from the school district. I'm the K-8 librarian, so I work at the 2 middle and 3 elementaries, and I've been on the board for 7 years.
I'm Michelle Humphreys. I've been on the board 4 years, maybe 5. You were pregnant, so let's go from there. And I also have 2 kids that are 8 and 9, so no, 9 and 10. Lord, I should know this. 9 or 10. And we do a lot of library programming, and yeah, library's big at our house.
Tracy Blair, obviously just completed running for the school board, so that's the last thing I've done. Mom of 6 kids, so have used the library quite a bit. Not so much now because they're older. Have been on the board for, I think, over 7 because you were pregnant with your first. So if she's 7 years old, then it's got to be that long. And currently I'm the treasurer of the board. That's about it, I think.
I'm Phyllis Woodward. I've been on the board for 2 years. I have 2 grandchildren that use a lot of the programs here, and then my husband and I also come to the library a lot.
I'm Nancy. Dave and I go way back. Way back.
Maybe.
I won't say it.
Wow.
Don't disclose any secrets.
Are you related to Tracy at all?
It's my wife.
That's your wife. Okay. All right, then. You are related.
Just by marriage. Just by marriage.
Wow.
Beautiful, beautiful daughter.
Well, it's just kind of funny because my really good friend in New Berlin is Rhonda DeAngelis, and when I would sign things up, they would put Tracy DeAngelis down. Like they would combine our two names, and so she would get all of my reservations for Park and Rec and stuff, and so we got to know each other quite well.
And she has a daughter named Julia. Does she not?
Yes, she does.
Yes, we once got her daughter's prescription medication for my daughter Julia.
Oh, crazy! Yep,
Yep.
Julia, Sophia and Roman.
Yeah, it's very, very weird.
Yeah, small world. But yeah, they would combine my first name with your last name, and then because I was signing her up for some Park and Rec and stuff, and
we're
then
not related at all. So.
No, yeah, they're from Kenosha, so yeah.
Welcome. Welcome.
Yes. Thanks for having us.
Thank you, everyone. And now we'll move on to the director's report. Take it away.
All right. Let's see. We had our first memory cafe back. We had stopped for a while when there was lower interest. We had about 38 people show up to that memory cafe, and you know, it's all about connection and building a sort of network and some education, but also social engagement for those with early onset Alzheimer's and their caregivers. So that was a very positive program for us. Our Brews and Books book club, which is at the Eagle Park Brewing, has been really positive as well. Again, great to highlight one of our local businesses, and we're getting lots of people at it. And, you know, all of the engagement and people making connections and talking with each other afterwards and making all the things we were hoping for. So that continues to be really exciting as well. I just want to do a formal thank you to the fire department. Thank you, Carrie, also, for Costo showed up. To the police department and the DPW department. We had our Touch of Truck event on March 26th, and we had about 143 people at that event. It rained all day except for the 1 hour. Was it drizzling or was it?
No, it was dry when we arrived.
Oh,
the sun came out towards the end, and the wind picked up, and it got dry on the ground. It was unbelievable.
If you're looking for some exciting photos, you should go to our Facebook page. Officer Sotorius brought, and the handler brought Tito, which is the new canine with the police department, but also a trained therapy dog, and I believe Tito's in the schools, which is very exciting. So that's a new thing the police department's doing. They brought all kinds of vehicles. Like I said, DPW was there. It was just really exciting, a great thing for our kids and families to be able to meet those first responders and members of the city staff that help make the city great and safe and whatnot. So that was really, really exciting. Let's see here. We had our Friends mini golf fundraiser this past Sunday. That was something that our teen librarian did, where we would get, there's lots of middle school, they need volunteer hours for the National Junior Honor Society, and so they were able to earn hours to build storybook golf holes. Michelle, I think you have any thoughts about it? Or?
It was super cute.
Yes,
it was. Each hole has a theme, like they picked a book, and so they had all these cool decorations for each one. The kids were there.
Yeah, all the kids were there with their work.
Yeah, that's exciting. I don't have the exact number, but I think the Friends made at least $400 to $500 for Sunday afternoon. And of course, again, it was also a program, and then it was also volunteer opportunity. So it's sort of something that managed to do all three things that we were looking for, so that's great as well.
And they had a 2 for $1 deal on their books, so they must have a surplus of kids' books trying to get rid of them. So
adult books, we don't have a surplus of. I know they put a call out recently for.
I just brought in 10.
Thank you. Do you want to donate any HVAC supplies?
There you go.
That at your house. Let's see, what else? What else? Our next board meeting is May 21st at 5 o'clock. Our next Friends First Friday Coffee is May 3rd at 9:30. It's a great way to meet the friends, but also just general community members, share a cup of coffee. I usually float in and give an update about the library, so it's a really nice time. And I believe it's the Friends, oh, I should know this. They're celebrating an anniversary. What is it? I don't know what the number is. Please don't ask me. An anniversary, but they're going to have donuts from Pops, apple cider donuts. So be a good one to attend. They'll probably give an update about the garden walk, which is the Friends fundraiser coming up in June. All right, I already talked about the sadness with the HVAC system. Our people counter, the gates are finally working after I had many delightful conversations with the company. So as you probably saw from our monthly statistics, January, February, and March do not have any building count statistics because it was not working. So one of the things that I want to ask you all is what you would like me to do, because we do have to report that number on the board or the state report at the end of the year. And I was trying to figure out if it would make more sense. Obviously, we know there were people in the building. I am confident, based on our circulation statistics, that there were at least as many people as there were last year, each month in those 3 months, because the circ numbers are comparable or higher. So what we could do is just fill in the number from last year for this year, just to give us a better representation. There's really, I suppose I could also leave the gap will be like 60,000 short, and then in the report I could just say our counting system didn't work for the first 3 months. I could do that also. I could also contact the state and ask them, like, what is your preference between those two? So, anyway, those are options before us, so.
I have a question. Normally at kids programming, they usually count how many people have attended.
Yep.
So you know at least those attendance numbers too.
Yeah,
But I know there's so many people that come that don't go to the program.
Right. Yeah. It's if you look at our CERC numbers, and that's not even a good indicator, right? I mean, that's the thing. It's going to be a guess no matter what, because our CERC numbers are pretty comparable, but that doesn't equate necessarily to human bodies. So in my opinion, I think we either leave it and I put an asterisk on the state report, or I fill in the numbers from last year on this year. So.
Is there any harm in asking the state which they prefer?
You can ask them.
I mean, because otherwise I'd say, yeah, take last year's CERC numbers, look at those, look at this year's CERC numbers, and just ratio the people population based on the difference in the CERC numbers, like, as close to the estimate as you ever take on.
Yeah, I'll talk to the Division of Library and Technology Services, and I'll just ask them, because the whole point of it is just to give the best representation. And so whatever the best representation is, in their opinion, is really what we want. We know there were people in the building. So, okay, I will contact them. Aside from that, my other day, I'm filled with such great news. Just remember that usually I bring positive things before you. Our light pole project, which was supposed to be my easy project this year, all I had to do was pick out a paint color, and then that was it. But they started to remove the poles and found out they were degrading on the inside. Now they're still working, right? But what DPW told me is it was not worth investing the amount that you're going to invest into it, because at the time that we requested the money from the city, which was like $30,000-$40,000, dollars, it was, and you will get 25 more years out of these light poles once you protect them on the inside. We've already invested in converting them to LED, so it was definitely going to be cheaper to do this than buying new light poles. However, now that we're not going to get the ROI on them, and DPW can't tell me when they're going to go, right? Like at some point, they're just going to start not working. And it'll be one of those things where like 2 won't work and then 3 won't work and we won't know. So he put them back up. He said it's not like trying to take them apart. They're just, it's not feasible. So the mayor is aware of this because we were talking about it in a department head meeting. I asked them, like, do you think this can be put off a year? Like, we have to go back and ask for more money. We can roll over the money that we have already asked for into another budget. I'm like, is this like a next year thing? Is this a couple years out? It's not really an answer he can give, right? So.
Brittany, if you've gone down Janesville Road at all recently, all of the posts are rusting unbelievably fast. It just seems like. Is that the same company that we use for the library?
So our light poles are actually 24 years old. They're original to the building. The ones on Janesville Road are since 2012 or so. So that was a separate issue and a separate problem that they're rectifying. We were going to use the same technique though to like sandblast and powder coat and then protect it from rust moving forward. But unfortunately, the surface rust on the outside was one thing, but the inside, just the mechanicals are falling apart as they were trying to.
Well, does that rust heat through?
It will eventually.
It will eventually. Now, right now, we haven't had any penetration. So, however it rusted on the inside, I mean, I think water just got into it, you know. So my plan, obviously I made this a bit of a footnote in my director report, not an actual discussion item. My plan is to have further conversations with DPW. He's investigating some different light poles. I think it makes sense to try to be sort of similar to the city in some ways so that like if they're troubleshooting them, it's not like a completely new thing, you know, Apple versus Windows type scenario. So I'm going to gather some more information. In the meantime, they are still doing the railing. That was not part of it. It's gone. Yeah, they took it, forklift, and then it was gone. So that's going to be sandblasted, powder coated, put the aluminum footings back on it. So that'll be back and good. And then what I will bring before you when we talk in June about the budget is my analysis and the additional information from DPW on, is this a request that we need to ask for next year, or does it just go into the 5-year plan? And I will get more information about what these light poles cost and what that looks like. I'm very sad about it. I was feeling very chipper about my momentum, and
meanwhile, though, do you want to somehow protect those lights in some way? Like, is there some sort of coating that we can put on them that's inexpensive?
I mean, yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. I will ask DPW if there's anything further that we can do to increase their life before they go. The outside, frankly, I mean, it's not like you can, if you poke on the rusty spots, it's not like your finger goes through. I'm like, what was happening over there? So I'm actually more, even though they're ugly, I'm more confident about the outside. I'm more worried about the inside starting to break down and then the light's just not working. That's actually my bigger concern right now. And I don't know what that looks like timing-wise, so.
So did they indicate that the wiring harness and the valves on the inside were going bad, or is it just that they're starting to get coated with corrosion on the inside?
He said that the different things that you just listed were, like falling apart.
Okay.
Yeah. So I will give you a more thorough update as I get more information, and then obviously I'll present you with our options, and we'll figure out what to do there. So I just wrote the word contact. What was it? You should see me the next day when I try to interpret some of the notes that I wrote. I'm like, what was I thinking? Okay, just give me 30 seconds here.
Tracy asked if you...
Yeah, if there's something that you can do to protect them to not make them deteriorate more. You know, maybe it's sealing certain things or what caulk.
Right.
The spray Rust-Oleum.
Yeah.
That look more like a giraffe.
Duct tape.
Duct tape umbrella.
Giraffe style.
It's like the animal theme.
Yeah, there you go. How would probably be more appropriate, but.
just gonna write the word longevity. Okay, I'm gonna write, there we go. Oh, gosh, okay, that's all I have. Laura's celebrating 24 years here, which is really amazing.
Yeah.
So, her in the building, they march on together. So,
I don't know if this is the time to bring this up or not, but have you been approached by the people from the Eagle Clinic?
not since she and I had that initial conversation.
Okay, so that's gone nowhere.
Yeah, I mean, she was gonna get more information and then I
And
didn't
she
follow
keeps
up.
calling me about, we have to find a place, we have to find a place. Muskego is closed,
Yeah,
so Eagle, the clinic is now in limbo.
yeah.
And I recommended a couple of churches, and I asked if she had spoken to you, so she has.
Yeah, she has. But you said she's been contacting you recently?
Yes, yes.
Can you, do you have her phone number?
Yes.
Can you write it maybe somewhere in my office? But
Yeah.
I think it'll be faster if you give it to me. My understanding of our last conversation was, like, absolutely, yes, here's our rooms, here's the meeting room policy, but maybe she and I misunderstood each other.
I think so, because she didn't found that church.
Okay. My memory on this, which can be foggy, is that she was needing to do some follow-up information on stuff and was gonna get back to me. But I will reach out to her and figure out where the entanglement happened and straighten that out. So,
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, director's report is over. Unfinished business. And then we've got nothing to discuss. Moving on to new business. Discussion, action, vote to fill the library board president vacancy.
All right, so Michelle is our vice president, so she's been running this meeting today, so thank you, Michelle. I did include in the board packet, on packet page 17, the bylaws, just so that you could see what we're doing here. And Article 3, Section 1 says vacancies in office shall be filled by vote at the next regular meeting, which is today of the board after the vacancy occurs. So that's why we are doing it. I know it may feel a little silly because we are also doing a nominating committee today because the board's annual meeting is in May to actually do the president. So the efficient part of me is like, ugh, but it's what the bylaws say, and you can understand why this type of process exists, because if there had been a vacancy months before this May meeting, you would need to have that process followed. So the bylaws don't really get into specifics. So really, it's just a nomination from the floor. I nominate so-and-so for president. I mean, you can all discuss amongst yourselves, and then we vote, and then at May, we do it over again.
For 1 month. Anybody will take that on, right?
Because really, yeah, it's to finish out this meeting and then to run the next meeting. So,
I volunteer if somebody wants to nominate. I can't really nominate myself.
You can self-nominate.
Okay, I'll nominate myself. Bye.
Well, I'll second.
Oh, wait, how do we do this? I'm sorry.
no, someone will say, I move to nominate myself, Michelle, and then, Dave will second, and then,
Okay. I nominate myself too.
You said on the way and you wanted to, so I didn't want you to not. Well, what happens then for the vice presidency if I move to president? Would we we'd wait till next month and have it with the slate, or would we vote today?
I would say we would do for the slate, because technically the vacancy would be filled at the next regular meeting, which would be the May meeting. So,
Sure. That's funny.
yeah, so we have 2 people who are willing to be nominated. So then,
You self-nominated, I seconded your nomination. You self-nominated, I second your nomination. Just that way everything is nice and kosher, everybody's got a second for the slate
Yeah.
candidates, so.
and so then I think what Robert would say about this, right, is that we have to run the first motion, and it either succeeds or fails, right?
Oh.
I don't know, I
no.
always went to ballot, like,
Yeah.
right? Just,
Typically, you close the slate of nominations. So you vote on, those people being nominated. Then you have a slate of candidates, so the nominations are closed.
Okay.
And then you vote on the two people, and one person should win.
Got it, that.
So, I'll move to close the nominations, unless,
I'll second it.
I'm gonna,
then we vote on that.
all right.
All right, all in favor of, do you need a minute for?
Well, I'm just trying to figure out how, I think I need to document this. Okay, hold on.
In the absence of a specific process, Robert's rule says you have nominations, close nominations, and you vote on the
I
slate.
think you have to have a ballot, though. I think we
Depends
have-
on it depends on the rules of the organization, so you can do it you do it any way you want. So someone on the commission can say, I move for a paper ballot or, voice ballot or whatever, establish, because there's no established specific rule for it. So,
Do you have anything about?
No, we don't.
I
I
don't see
will
anything.
write some stuff up. Stuff in the bylaws. Okay, all right, so I wrote that down. So then you moved to close the nomination process,
Yeah.
right?
Do I second it?
Okay.
So all those in favor of closing the nomination process, say aye.
Aye.
All those against? Motion passes.
Okay. So I'm sorry, I'm gonna defer, so now what?
So now the nominations are closed, you have a slate of two candidates.
Yep.
And so now you vote for the candidate. So you can do it in a couple different ways. You can call vote for each one, or you can do ballots. Ballots, if you're going to do a ballot, because it's an open public meeting, you have to initial the ballot so that if anybody ever wants to know who voted which way, you can do it that way as well. So it's really at the pleasure of
It's
the
like
commission.
you either want to have an open forum vote or you want a closed.
Kind of close.
Right. You still have to acknowledge yourself.
I mean, I'm not voting, so I don't know if you guys have a preference, if you want it closed or not.
With the ballot?
Yeah.
I think that might be good.
I think it probably would be a good thing.
Yeah. I see
Yeah.
that there's some papers. Maybe we could use those.
Yeah, you can just write the name on there.
So can you two do a speech or something?
Yeah, like why you want to run for this position?
There we go. Yeah, it's a.
Like what's your drive? What's your desire?
What's your plan?
Well,
Yeah.
ballots are being made.
Do you want to go first, Gary?
I love the library so much, and I try to do anything I could to make the library a better place. And I do it on the board when I can, and I would try to do it as the president too.
And she practically lives here.
And I live here already.
That was noted.
I also love the library, obviously, and my kids are very invested, and from them being babies on, I've tried to instill the same love of reading that I have. I've enjoyed being on the strategic planning committee and chairing that committee, and then being vice president, just to have more input and kind of invest my time and energy more than not serving or
paying more attention and just having a say in the strategic planning and getting to know the details. I'm very detail oriented, but I kind of see the forest for the trees, so it helps me to piece things together and see where we're going and bigger picture. I don't know, I like having input. But honestly, I'm also okay being vice president. Like, I can stay doing that. I'm not gonna. We both get. I mean, you know, I want to make this like a
Strategic planning
comfortable.
too.
Yeah. Like,
But
it's
All
all
right.
good.
But now you have to
I
remind me of
haven't
your
ever
last name.
haven't ever done running a meeting, and she has. She has more experience there, for sure.
Brittany to guide you through it. And now apparently we have Dave who knows all the Robert's rules. So mean that in a good way. So I'm Michelle Humphreys, and she's
Humphreys. Okay.
I'm Carrie Fountain.
Remember the first names, just not the last names.
It's on board packet number
Well, it only has last
3.
names.
You could just write the last name if you want.
All right. Now, if you want to write it, and you can hand it to me if that's acceptable. And everyone needs to initial their name. Is that the? Whoops.
Yeah, you should have an initial on there because that's part of the whole open public meeting law thing.
You'll walk it over. Yeah. Trust me.
I didn't look.
Well, and it's a good thing you aren't voting because there's 7. So if you had been 8, it would have been 4 and 4.
We'd be here all night.
We would have been doing rock, paper, scissors.
I know, I was counting.
They're not
They
here.
can't be not present.
Only those present.
Okay.
But we're gonna do this all again next.
Right.
Change your mind.
We can see how this goes, and then we can
The fact that there's 2 people that want to do it is just
I
like
get
awesome.
Yeah, it is.
My
Doesn't happen
experience
often.
is that, everybody's looking at each other, looking down, and nobody wants to make eye contact because they're afraid.
Well, now that you've already avoided, I can also say I learned some stuff from Gail just because she would pay so much more attention. It got me paying more attention, which got me more interested in it. So
She was very thorough.
yes.
All right. Thank you so much both for your interest. Michelle has the votes, so.
Congratulations.
Thank you. You're really talented.
Or condolences.
I'm honored to have you all. I hope that these meetings are not too disruptive to your life. You guys are a good group and very creative and interesting. I'm lucky to have you all. So thanks for being here.
We're lucky to have you.
Well, and now we have a vacancy though for the
Yeah.
vice president.
But because the vacancy exists, it doesn't get filled until the next meeting.
Okay.
We can't add a seat up there. So
That's right.
Yeah.
So we won't have to do that one twice.
Yeah.
So whoever's on the nominating committee might want to reach out to a couple. I think it was Barb. I know Barb's on it.
Barb was on it, yeah. And then who else? There was someone else.
Phyllis, was I on it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like we did this last year too.
Yeah.
Who was on it?
Yeah, I read
I
the
remember.
planning because you
remember.
accidentally put her on.
That's one of the more embarrassing moments. I wasn't proud.
Oh, I'm not bringing it up to embarrass you. It was just
No,
funny.
no.
We had a strategic planning committee meeting, and Phyllis showed up because.
And you
was
showed up by
not
luck.
lady. Yeah.
I saw that it was happening. I was like, okay, I'm gonna be there.
Yeah. Such dedication. I
Happy
do
to
too.
do that.
Yeah. Oh goodness. What hijinks I can get us into. Okay. So, next agenda item?
Is it, so we don't vote again or anything, right? It's just.
No, they
Okay. Okay. Next item, discussion of the library board president appointment of the nominating committee.
So, I also, just as a little bit of a, on packet page 18,
Yes.
18, it talks about the, 18 section 2 at the top, nominating committee shall be appointed by the president. Okay, so that's why it's just a discussion, it's not a vote. Michelle will just discuss and declare who's on the nominating committee. We've done 2 people in the past.
Since Barb is not here to speak for herself, does anyone here want to serve on the nominating committee, since we're just discussing?
I'll do it.
All right, Billy, that's what we like. If Barb's not here,
I mean, I don't think Barb would be very protective of this position based on my memory of last year.
yes.
So,
So is there a second person who'd like to join?
Last year?
No, I think it was.
I think it was just the 2 of them.
Okay, I will.
Oh, thank you, Nancy. Anybody else, just to give you a chance or discussion? And this is different from like the personnel committee, right? And
yeah,
this is really just the one time.
All you have to do is ask people if they want to run
Yes.
for those positions, and if they
Get down on
agree.
your knees and beg.
and also if people are interested, they can proactively approach,
Yes.
you know,
Yeah.
and then it's really up to the nominating committee to present a slate of officers at the next meeting. And if someone else is interested, then they can self-nominate or be nominated on the floor by someone else. And I'm going to write down every single thing that Dave said that we did here so that we have a process in place.
So this is you and I.
Right. So we'll have to get together and like it's in a coffee.
I like brandy Manhattans.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, apparently the nominating committee is.
I don't know
committee to
her.
be,
Is she running?
Very good one.
We don't have as much fun on strategic planning. We must be doing something wrong.
Right. We'll have to bring Brandy next time. Brandy Manhattan.
No alcohol on the library, though.
Didn't they used to have the wine tasting or something?
They did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it was a fundraiser and it was the
Saturday
library
night.
doing it. It was like the exception to
I
that.
remember
okay.
cutting cheese for hours for
Yeah.
the hors d'oeuvres.
Yeah, I went to one or two of those.
Nancy, you've served in so many
Oh,
ways.
yeah.
Thank you for your service.
So I officially nominate or appoint
You've appointed them.
Appoint.
Yep. Yes.
Phyllis and Nancy. Thank you.
Hopefully Barb won't be too sad about that.
Maybe that's why she's not here.
She saw the agenda.
If I'm not there, I can get nominated.
True.
Yeah, right. Or we could have just said it's going to be Barb and Deb. They're not.
Yeah. Right. That's true. We should have done that. We missed our opportunity. All right, next item is discussion and action on the approval of allowable costs worksheet. So we want to do the vote first, right?
The motion.
The motion, I mean. Okay. Is there a motion to approve the allowable costs worksheet?
I move to approve the allowable cost worksheet.
Thank you, Karen.
Second.
Second. Thank you, Kelly.
I included a little background document, packet page, whatever.
Thank you.
Thank you. This is a document we see every year. It is part of the Waukesha County budget process and funding formula. You're going to see the actuals from 2023 and the adopted numbers for 2024. And then what you are voting to approve is that we, the board president, in this case it will be Michelle, will sign it and I will sign it and we send it to Waukesha County so we can get the money.
Did we have a motion to approve it?
Yes, carried.
So,
Any questions there?
I think last year when we saw this, I asked about Sharon, and you said that she's from the Bridges Library.
She is the city finance director. And so, she just gives us a report of what our indirect costs are. So the city is very generous. They don't charge us for, like DPW, snowplow clearing, and, other such things that are indirect costs. So that's just counted for that.
Okay. So the other county payments for library services, those counties pay for our services? I couldn't remember. I think we talked about that last year.
Where are you, Michelle?
Sorry, the third line item down, other county payments for library services.
Okay.
And it says Prairie Lakes, Jefferson County, and Washington County.
Yep. If their patrons used our library and certain materials, then they have to pay.
And
vice
have
versa.
to, okay.
If our patrons went over into one of those systems, they would pay at a certain rate. So
But why just those?
those are ones we have agreements with.
Oh, okay.
So, and also they're the ones that our patrons use, right? Like the odds of one of our patrons going to Madison and checking out a book is incredibly low. So these are the library systems that our patron, or these are the library systems that their patrons travel to. They're sort of bordering us.
Okay.
It's a proximity thing.
Yes.
That's what I was
trying to
I thought
say.
Jefferson was further away,
Yeah. They're part of our library system though, Jefferson. So
Yeah.
it's not unusual that every once in a while we'll get someone. So.
No Milwaukee County now.
No.
Okay.
No, Dave. Starting stuff already. Someday we'll get there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, wait, on.
Any other questions or discussion? All right, all those in favor of approving the allowable cost worksheet for 2024? Say aye.
Aye.
All those against? All those abstaining? Motion passes. Communications and miscellaneous business is authorized by law. Anybody got anything? All right, can I get a motion to adjourn? Meeting.
Oh, wait, I need to answer. Sorry.
Tony needs to communicate something.
To share some information. So my retirement was approved last night, so
Oh.
I will be
wow.
retiring at the end of this year.
You're not old enough.
Congratulations.
Oh, I'm hoping.
Tony, thank you for your service.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
And congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. 37 years is a long
Oh my gosh.
time. Yeah.
Wow.
Teaching. I started at 12, so.
We got lucky.
Were you teaching? Were you a teacher? Or were you in the libraries the whole time?
No, I have started my career in Scottsdale, Arizona,
Oh,
and I taught kindergarten through second grade there. And then I was that was 6 years, then New Berlin 18, and I'm here 13.
Wow.
So yeah, I've been able to teach all the grades, 4K through 8th grade.
Oh, well, that's amazing.
So yeah, and so it's been fun. And it's been wonderful to be on the board. Probably didn't notice I would sit here when I first moved here, and I would sit and wait for the library. It wasn't Brittany, just waiting for her to come. And I would wait for hours, and they'd be like, "Oh, she's not going to come today." All right, I'll come again another time. And I would just, because I was so excited. Because in New Berlin, we really partnered a lot. So, yeah, there were days I'd be like, "You can go, she's not coming." So, yeah, so I was very thrilled to be able to be on the board. So, I've been lucky.
A long time.
As we know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
Thanks.
congratulations. So what does that mean? Does the mayor just appoint a new, or does the school appoint a new?
I mean, well, yeah, normally
she's retired.
I would say, like, you can stay on the board, but because you're the school district representative, we need a school district representative.
They know. We've had to talk about a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
That they didn't know I did, and they're like, "Oh, you did that." So I did make them aware. So they'll.
So what is your last day, would you say?
May 31st.
Yeah,
Because
that's right,
we're
'cause we
out
finished early.
Yeah.
We're out early
Yeah,
this year,
that's right.
so.
Tony, you're the last person who hired me.
Oh, my last one.
You were the lone holdout. Who knew every minute of Brittany? First name.
It's been great.
All the mistakes that I made originally.
No.
You know,
Taking it with her.
you know.
All right. Well, thanks, Tony.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
No.
Did we have a, oh, sorry.
Now we can
I get a
motion to adjourn. I will motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Excellent. All those in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
All those against? All right, almost 6 o'clock exactly. Motion to adjourn passes.
Can I tell Dave about my first meeting?